Let's take a look at some really interesting information here. So I've got pulled up going back to January of 2017 through September of 2025. And what we're going to cover here is the number of active listings, the number of new listings, the number of pending listings, and the number of sold listings. And I think what's really fascinating here is when we talk about sort of that COVID market. So oftentimes people talk about when are price points going to come down. And I think, those national headlines that we hear of the markets that are seeing declines in active or in declines in price points are seeing a pretty severe rise of active listings. So that's what we're looking at right now, active listings. You can tell going back to 2017, in January of that year, we had 637 active listings. We hit a peak in August of 2017 where we have 802 residential properties for sale throughout the entire Wood River Valley. And this chart just follows it down. So you can see here, if we kind of jump a little bit ahead, 575 homes were for sale in the month of August during 2020. That would have been sort of the peak of that seller's market we experienced. And look what happens 10 months later. We dropped down to 223 active listings. So when we talk about supply and demand, that is exactly what this chart shows, right? There was quite a bit of demand in the market. We'll touch on the pending sales here in a second, but inventory, the supply of properties, it gets really low. Now we did see it start to come back up this year, and if we follow this all the way over to the right, this summer we hit a high water mark of 418, which is good news because we had not seen a listing month above 400. Saw it last summer, but you go back 3 years. You got to go back to 2020. You got to go back to October of 2020 to get above 400 active listings. So really, until the inventory here starts to rise, we're not going to see a great softening of our price points. Now let's get rid of the active listings. Let's look at new listings. These are listings that just come on and are tracked within a 30-day period. What this shows us is it kind of looks like an EKG for real. It shows us when our market peaks as far as active listings are concerned. So you can tell every April, these things rise, hitting a high water mark kind of in June and coming down, hitting a high water mark in June and coming down, hitting a high water mark around May, hitting a high water mark in July of 2020, hitting a high water mark in July of 2021, a high water mark in June, a high water mark in June of 23, high water mark in June of 24, and we have a high water mark in June of 25. So the most active listings we ever have is typically between May and July. That is historically when that plays out. And they fall back off after that. Now let's get rid of that. Let's look at these pending listings. The thing I really want to focus on here is just that one part of the chart that stands out. We like to think that COVID was this myriad, this 3-4 year, market. It was essentially one summer. We go into April of 2020, and there are only 14 contracts executed that month. We all thought everything was over. And you see it rise sharply. In May, it jumps to 54. In June, it jumps to 103. In July, it hits 157. In August, it hits 160, and it falls back down almost as fast as it went up. It goes to 112 in September, 95 in October, and it's back down to 51. And you guys, our trend line, we are below 60 pendings pretty consistently from October of 2021 until July of this year. But if you look pre-COVID, it was not uncommon for us to execute 81 contracts in 2019, 99 contracts in 2018, 103 contracts in 2017. Those are all in the month of August. It's going to be one of our bigger months for contracts and things going under contract. But it's just this, I think this is really informative of how the market changed during COVID. And really, truth be told, we had just a few months during COVID that drove the market nuts, and our inventory falls. Let's just bring that active inventory on top of this. And there's your active inventory on top of your pending sales. But the pre-COVID market was really robust and healthy. Lot of pending, lot of things going under contract. And again, we only have 1 month since 2021 where we go over 60 contracts, and we have several in the years previous to 2020 where that happened. Let's look at what sold. Here's your sold data. And again, let's just look at that COVID market. It rises like crazy, right? How many sold? We sold 21 homes in May of 2020, 37 in June, 86 in July, 109 in August, 144 in September, 123 in October, 95 in November, and it just falls back down. But you can see this big spike in COVID, and the years after COVID, while our market is still strong and we're seeing really strong demand, it's not stronger than it was pre-COVID. But again, that goes back to what's available. And there's just not that much stuff available right now. I hope you found this informative. Give it a like. Please subscribe. Again, I would love to be your local real estate resource here in the Sun Valley area.